All right, today we're going to talk about upgrading or swapping out your TH1000 1-inch increments, which I have those around here. So that's the thicker plastic, to the half-inch indicators. All right, so I have one of those around here as well. So essentially what it is you measure half-inch increments instead of 1-inch increments. The beauty of this design is the actual body of the measuring device doesn't change at all. The brackets that go on there don't change. The only thing that change is the spacers, and you actually need one more, maybe a different rod. You may need this hardware if you have an older version. You may need different clamps, and you may need different brackets. But if you have a newer version, a Gen 2, the only thing you're going to need here is the new set of plastic and the plastic spacers and the plastic indicators. Okay, so depending on what version you have, you may need just the plastic or you may need all of this. Okay, so we're going to show you how to actually not disassemble, but just assemble the new half-inch version to your existing measuring device body. So what you'll want to double check is that your two rods that you have are the same length. Your indicator brackets, the new ones have a slotted hole on the top bracket. This allows for some flexibility. And then you have the two holes on the bottom bracket that are just holes, no slots. So you want the slotted one on the top side, which is up here. And what we'll do is go ahead and put those on first. And then you have the bolts that you'll need. And you'll keep the same bolts you used for the measuring devices before with the half-inch. So you got these 4 bolts here that secure the indicator bracket. Then you have the 4 bolts here, 2 washers and 2 bolts for each rod. You have a spacer on each one, and then the same on the other side. 2 bolts, 2 spacers, or 2 washers, and then you got your 2 little spacers here that go on the other side of the indicator bracket. You have your safety clamps. They're aluminum clamps. They have a little Allen screw that goes through there, and that just prevents the bolts from ever loosening up in case you don't get them tight. Okay, during use. So that's a little safety measure. We put one of those on top and one of those on bottom. And then we had 2 11-inch wrenches. This is our Allen wrench we use for the clamps. And then we have the only tools you're going to need is 2 11-inch or 11mm ratchets or wrenches there. I got one that's a ratcheting end just to make it a little faster, but that's all you need. So that would be the Gen 1 upgrade, is all this hardware as well. Gen 2 upgrade is just the plastic you see here. You'll have the 2 sets of gray and orange or whatever your colors are, and then you'll have 59 piece spacers. The only spacer that is unique is this one that is the very top. It doesn't have a tab. So let me show you 2 of them here, maybe up close in the picture. Hopefully you can see that well. So the tabs interlock. So you don't want your spacers rotating. So when it goes assembled, the tabs interlock. The very top one, we just cut, the tab is just removed and it's flat on top. And that allows for the spacer to mate up evenly. Okay, so you'll want to set the top one aside, you'll put that on last. All right, so let's go ahead and go through this. I'll probably do a speed lapse of this process. It's pretty straightforward. So we're gonna put the brackets on first. We're gonna take 1 rod, slide all the spacers on, put the 1 rod on and bolt it in place. And then we're gonna take the next rod and we're gonna start on one end and slide the plastic in the order that the numbers are all the way through until we get it completely assembled, and then we'll tighten up both bolts, and then we'll put the clamps on and we are finished. So it's that simple. It's a really simple disassembly and assembly process, but let me go through this with you real quick so you can see the whole process. All right. We keep this one loose so it can move back and forth. Getting this bracket up here on the bottom really tight. And kind of speed this process up. Just make sure you have the top flat piece pointing up, or the little tab pointing up, and they all will slide together. Now put one spacer on the very bottom here, flip it all over. Very top we put this one, and we put another spacer. So what you have here is a spacer, and then all of them, slide it in the hole, open that up, slide it in the hole, and then squeeze down tightly. So put a little angle to it. And the first thing we put on is the spacer. And then we're going to get all the plastic laid out here, and then we're going to put that together. put these clamps on. So all you do is line up the bolt. All we're doing is we're going to get this, it slides in between two bolt heads. I'll show you here in the camera. If I get in there, bolt. Okay, so what you have here is two bolts, and what this does is it slides right between the flat part of two bolt heads. If I can hold it here. It's kind of hard to have. So it slides between it perfectly. If it's turned, it won't slide through, so you need it flat. So don't do it like that. Make sure you're all lined up flat. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this and line up both of these, and then we just, if they're lined up good, we can push it right through. You take the Allen wrench, put that there, or the bolt, and then you take the Allen wrench and you tighten it up. Don't turn too tight, just snug. It is aluminum, so you don't want to strip it out. Same thing on this end. Sometimes you have to loosen both of them. Just a tad. Eyeball it. And then switch your bolt. And there you go. Now you're complete. You got fully assembled plastic indicators. They rotate nice and easily. So that's all there is to it. I hope you guys had a good time. We'll see you next time.